Hello, today is May 10th, 2023. I'm meeting with Mr. Algie Boone to talk about his experiences in World War II. Good morning, Algie, and thanks for sitting down today to tell your story.
Good morning. Thank you. I appreciate it. You're doing a good job there, and I really appreciate it. You're very nice.
Well, let's start out, if we could. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your date of birth, where you were born, a little bit about your family.
Well, my date of birth was, wait just a minute. My date of birth is May 28th, 1924. I was born in Sartinville, Mississippi. That's Sartinville, Sartinville, Mississippi. To a family, my dad and mother had 11 children.
Is that right? Wow.
And they are all gone today except me.
Oh. And where did you fit in that order?
I was down the fifth one down.
Yeah.
From beginning, the oldest down to the youngest.
So you were smack in the middle, pretty much.
I was almost in the middle.
Yeah.
If you cut one in half, I'd been in the middle.
What'd your dad do for a living?
He's a farmer.
Farmer, okay, yeah. And what was life like growing up on a farm in Mississippi?
It was nice. Hard work, but it was good.
Mm-hmm.
It was good, and we had a Christian father and mother, and we knew what it was to have the Bible read at night, to pray at night, and to return thanks to the Lord on every meal, and I still do that.
Wow.
I still do them both.
Well, one thing I always like to ask your generation, what was it like going through the Great Depression, and did it affect your family much?
Yes, but we never knew what it was to go to bed hungry. God protected us, and we would raise a garden and help out a lot. We would have planting the fields and all, and for vegetables and everything like that. We were proud of it.
Yeah.
And we didn't have any money, but we had love for each other.
Priceless.
Yeah.
So you went through the school system and then graduated from high school there? And
I went through Sartinville there. We had a school from the primer to the 8th grade.
Okay.
And from that went there through high school.
Okay. Yeah.
Which was Salem, was about 10 miles south of where we were.
And you graduated from high school what year? Remember?
Well, I liked about 4 months finishing high school. I did not graduate.
Okay.
I liked about that, finishing high school.
Yeah. And just went to work on the farm, or?
Yeah.
And so then World War II breaks out. Do you remember where you were and what you were thinking when Pearl Harbor was bombed?
Yes. It was one Sunday afternoon. I was up at a little Nazarene church with a friend of mine, him and his wife. And we was up there talking, and I remember them here on the radio them saying that Pearl Harbor was bombed. And so I was, I believe, 41 years old then.
Well, just short of 17 years old. It was in 41. It was 1941. So.
I mean, yeah.
So what'd you think about that? Did you wonder what that meant for you, or your brothers, or your friends?
Yeah, I knew I knew there were 7 boys and 4 girls in our family. All right, and the 4 of the oldest, there was all six brothers, and excluding one, went to the army.
Oh boy.
6 of them went overseas. 6 of them came back. We had a praying father and mother, and they protected us. And the oldest 4 saw action. My oldest brother and I met up over in the Philippines.
Wow.
And my other 2 brothers met up over in Germany, and that.
Really? Wow. Well, we'll definitely talk about that further along in the interview when we get over there. But so then, being 17, you couldn't enlist. Did you wait till you were 18, or?
Yeah.
And,
I went to the army when I was drafted.
oh, okay.
Okay, and I was drafted. I went in May 5 of 43. And then May the 28th of that year, I was 19. So I went in 3 weeks.
For your birthday.
For my birthday, yeah.
Yeah. And what was that transition like, going from the farm life in Mississippi into the military? Was that much of an adjustment for you?
It was a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a lot of adjustment.
Yeah.
And so I didn't care too much for it.
Sure.
But I done what the Army said do on there, and I done as they told us on it.
Where did you go for your boot camp, or for your basic
I
training?
went to Camp Barkley, Texas. That is approximately 80 miles west of Dallas, Texas. On that for my training. Then I got about a 2.5 day trip back to go back home because I was going overseas.
Oh boy.
All right, and when I came back, I was sent, and do you want this now? I was sent into San Francisco, California, the POE, and I was sent there and stayed a couple of days or something like that. Then I was sent from there into Brisbane, Australia.
Wow.
We sailed by ship.
Well, that begs the question. Here's a Mississippi farm boy going to sea. Did you get your sea legs on that trip, or how was that ship ride across the Pacific? Did you get your sea legs? Did you get seasick at all, or?
Well, a little bit, but I learned to look off and not down at the water. If you look down at the water, you'll get seasick.
Yeah.
But look off, out into the wild blue yonder.
And I always understand from everybody that I've interviewed that as you crossed under that Golden Gate Bridge was quite something. Wondering.
Well, we had made it rhyme a little bit. We had Golden Gate in 48.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what we were thinking. Would you be coming back about that?
Yeah. And how was that leaving home? Did you get any sort of, I mean, as loving and as close as your family was there any would you get any homesickness, or?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
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 We had a happy home.
Yeah.
And but I did get homesick quite a bit.
Yeah.
And we stayed in Australia there for I don't know, several days, I don't know. And then we were sent for replacements of the 32nd Division.
So you went over as a replacement. You weren't in.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And I was drafted, like I said a while ago, I was drafted, period. Yeah, and then it wasn't long until we were drafted into 126th Infantry Division and the 32nd Division.
Correct. Okay.
All right, and I didn't have any choice of what I was getting into.
Right.
I was in the medic. I was sent as a medic in the medical corps.
Did you have any training for that, or was it on-the-job training?
No, a little bit along, not much.
Wow.
Very little. And then wherever the infantry went, wherever they front lines, wherever anyone was shot or anything, we had to go pick them up.
Jeez.
We had 4 per litter, a litter to pick them up.
Uh-huh.
And sometime we'd have to just take 2 and get them like that.
Wow. Wow.
So
How was it? Once again, I keep going back to this Mississippi farm boy is now halfway around the world.
Yeah.
You know, starting. You know, how long did that ship ride take you to get from the States to Australia, roughly?
About 3 weeks.
Jeez. Wow.
Yeah.
And you went straight, or did you stop in Hawaii or anywhere along the ways?
No, we went as a straight sail, going through there on the leaving the POE in San Francisco to Brisbane, Australia. It was a straight run.
And was there any worries along the ways with Japanese subs or anything like that?
No,
No?
there wasn't.
Oh, good.
And there was kind of down out of the way more there.
Yeah.
They were back north, well, wherever, I don't know.
Okay, so you linked up with the 32nd in Australia. Take your story from there then, once you're in the 32nd.
From Australia, we went and were connecting with the 32nd Division of the 126th Infantry of the 32nd Division.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went in there. And they put me in the medical corps.
Uh-huh.
All right. We went to where we were and being put in there. Well, they wasn't going to give us a gun.
Because you were a medic, correct?
I was a medic.
Yeah.
They said put that arm, that band up there on your arm. I said, no, that is the best thing for a Jap to find to shoot you with.
And if I understand it right, the Geneva Convention said that you weren't supposed to shoot medics, but the Japanese ignored that, correct?
Yeah, they ignored it. It didn't matter with them.
Yeah.
And so I told them, no, I'm not going to wear that. I said, I want a gun. They said, no, you can't have one. I said, I'm going to get a gun. I says, the first one that gets sent back, I'm getting his gun. So they gave me a carbine rifle. It held 14 rounds in the chamber there. Well, in a little thing under it.
Mm-hmm.
But so they knew I wasn't going without a gun. And that's all they want out there. The Japanese, that's all they want. I know it, them little fellers. They were tough.
So then from Australia, you started working your way north then to...
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were put in with the 32nd Division.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever they went they were back resting
In reserve? Uh-huh.
when we had joined.
Okay.
And then when it went back, we went with them, and that's where I was. There were several of us, 4 of us. We went with the group. Wherever they'd go, we'd have to go out on patrols. And when it'd be one medic to go on a patrol. I went on several of them. We went out one day and we were going through the woods, and it was way out. We found the Japanese, and he was nice. The leader of the patrol could talk Japanese.
Oh, okay.
And he talked to him a while, and he says, "What are you doing off out here? Where are your friends?" He said, "They're out there in the woods, somewhere out in there." And he says, "I'm over here." He says, "I'm lonesome, and I've got a family of 3 children at home, a wife and all." So we listened to him a little. And the guy was talking to the Japanese, said, "Okay, go on back out there and be with in the woods and be with your friends." He let him get out there about 25 or 30 feet and shot him down.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Hmm.
But he shot him down, and so we went on. But we took a lot of trips. Patrols.
So when you would go out on a patrol, what's going through your mind? I got to imagine it's got to be kind of scary out in the jungle and
Hoping we don't
right.
find someone out there will slip up on us and kill us.
Oh boy.
It was bad, I'll tell you. And the little Japanese was sneaky. They were sneaky. But I'm thankful that the Lord protected me.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So now you first saw action from reading about you up in Papua New Guinea, or where did you first?
We were in New Guinea.
New Guinea, okay.
Yeah. Okay, I went through New Guinea, Sado, Idaho, Netherlands, East Indies, the island of Morotai, all through the Philippines. We had several battles in the Philippines. And from there, the war ended. Then we were sent to Japan.
Part of the occupation forces?
Yeah. And I went through Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And I went through their 4th largest city, Kobe, Kobe, Kobe. And there was one smokestack standing. The other was just leveled.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, what were your living conditions like when you lived out in the? I imagine lived out in the elements in a tent, or what were?
We were in tents a lot.
Yeah.
When we were resting, we were in tents. We had a foxhole dug right by our side, right by the bed, and we had the mosquito net over our bed, fixed so it'd be over our bed. Because if those mosquitoes didn't take you down there, they made this as a joke. They said, "No, I was up there where the little ones were, but they were going to take me down there to give me the big mosquitoes. So we didn't do it.
And what about food? Mostly rations, or
Ration.
how often would you get a warm meal?
You didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't until if you got back on resting or something like that. But you didn't. It was K rations. And we got, I forget what place we were in. We got cut off by the enemy. And we had to split the K ration 3 to 1. We split it 3 to 1 like that. And I got so weak, you couldn't hardly stand up. When you stand up, you'd have to hold to something to keep from falling.
Jeez.
Until, as a bully beef bomber, we called it, it was a C-46, I believe, plane. They would drop our food like that, and a lot of times Japanese would beat us to it.
Did you ever succumb to any of the diseases there in the jungle, the malaria, anything?
I took the malaria fever. Well, they called it dengue fever. I took that, yeah. And I had to go to the hospital a few days, not long. But I soon got over it.
Did it ever flare up later in life at all?
No.
Never. Oh, good, yeah. Mm-mm. Well, I've got to wonder here. You know, you weren't eating very well. You weren't sleeping very well. You were out in the elements. You had all the jungle diseases and the humidity and the weather. Any one of the hygiene was awful. Any one of those things could knock a man down. But on top of that, you had the umbrella of war and the pressure of that. How do you think you made it through that time?
By the Lord, He helped us, and I was strong back then. I'd been on the farm, and I could do anything I wanted to do. Strong. So it was good. But it was, I don't know, just live one day at a time.
Yeah.
And we would go in a battle for a while, and then we'd take back and enter the rest period. And but we had to have, we were still where Japanese could attack us. And we'd have to have dig foxholes, and we could put those nets up for our bed. We had tents. We were back in tents and like that. But out on the front lines, it never rained or anything. We had an old poncho. That thing, they spread it out. Water would come down your steel helmet and it would run down your back some, and it just, there wasn't any fun in it at all.
Wow.
And like I said, I was drafted, but I was over there a pretty good while. I met up with my oldest brother. He was in the 31st Division.
Really? Okay.
And I was in the 32nd Division, and on that 126th Infantry. All right. They made a landing of where we were. And so I found out that he was on the island that we were on, and I asked permission to go up and stay with him 2 or 3 days, and I did. They had a pillbox on. He was in infantry. They had a pillbox there, and they had dug down about a foot deep, where you could, on one of those coconut logs, you could look out and all the way around on that. They left cracks in them. And so I stayed up there and slept in the pillbox at 2 or 3 nights with him. But they didn't have any opposition.
That must have been wonderful to see
It
him.
was. It
Oh,
was.
I can't imagine. Wow.
It was.
Wow.
And my other 2 brothers were one over in their other theater. One was a machine gun operator and sergeant in leading his machine gun. Him and my other brother, just older than me, got together over there.
Wow.
And so they had a good time there for a while. And so my next to the oldest brother was a machine gun operator, and he had wherever he was a machine gun operator, but they were in a tough battle there one day, and he was trying to get one of his men to come up there with him, and there was shell. He reached out to get him, and shell had done taken his head off, and so it was rough. But my other brother over there was in the building bridges.
Okay,
You know,
engineers.
like that. I can't think of. I know the name of it, but I can't think.
That's
of
fine.
it. So we all got back home.
Oh, your poor mother during that time period. What the worry she had to go through.
Her and my dad both.
Yeah.
They prayed for us and everything. So I got out.
Well, now, speaking of the home front, were you able to get mail? I mean, you were on the go.
Yeah, we'd get V-mail.
Yeah, was that pretty consistent? I mean, how often would it take a letter to get to you back and forth?
We made a quote one day. It says, "We down in New Guinea where the mail's always late. A Christmas card in April is considered up to date." we made that up, and so it took it a while.
Yeah.
But they were pretty good on that V-mail, and they were pretty good about getting it to us. But I don't know.
So you fought yourself up the pipe to Philippines. Now I understand you've got a Purple Heart. Can you talk about how you received that the day that what happened?
That was nonsense of me in getting it.
Oh.
We were in battle. I was just sitting out there. We were kind of halfway resting, and I had my steel helmet off, and a piece of shrapnel hit me in the head, but it didn't hurt. I mean, it hurt some, but I got a Purple Heart on it. So it was my fault for having my helmet off and not having it on there. So I don't know. All right, what else do we need?
Well, then Okay, so the war ended. Do you remember where you were when you heard that the Japanese had finally surrendered?
Yeah. Yeah. We were in the Philippines and heard that they had, and then I don't know where it is. I had a picture of the Japanese leaders. Had the picture of them signing the treaty, and our men they're together signing it. Yeah, I don't. It was 1945.
Correct.
I don't remember the date.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. Was there celebration among you guys? I mean, there had to be a sense of relief that you made it through the sheer hell that you had just been through.
Yeah, and after that, they sent us our outfit, 32nd Division. They sent it to Japan. It was a peace treaty.
Yeah, the occupation force.
Yeah. They sent it we got in there on the boat to Japan that night and woke up the next morning. You could see all them big old Japanese boats, ships around us. It kind of scared you. But they would come in there and the Japanese would go get us off the ship and bring us in. But they looked like they just as soon start shooting or not. But I had my carbine rifle. I shoot from the left side, always did, hunting and all. And I shoot from the left side. I had that thing cocked. It was loaded, it was cocked. I had that finger on the trigger because the Japanese was just thick as I don't know what.
Yeah, sure.
But they didn't do anything.
How were they during the time you spent in Japan? How did they?
They were nice.
Were they okay?
Yeah. They were nice. We'd go around a little bit in different places, some close in, and they were nice.
And you said you had the opportunity to visit Nagasaki and Hiroshima?
Yeah, I went through one of them. I was asleep on the train, but I went through the other and I saw what the damage that atomic bomb done.
Wow!
It was tremendous.
Wow!
And that Kobe, the fourth largest Japanese city, it was just leveled.
Wow!
Mile after mile for a while, and it was just leveled on there.
So now to get home, it was based on a point system. So you had to wait till you had enough points to
Yeah, we had. The longer we were over there, we had points, and the sooner you'd go back home. And I was over there one day, and we had an American ship going to China, and they said, "Hey, and you GIs want a free trip to China?" I thought about it a minute, and I said, "Well, wait a minute." I got to thinking, and I said, "No, I'm not," because I was close to going home. I said, "I'm going to go home." And in just a little while, we sailed out of Tokyo. Coming back, we landed in Tacoma, Washington, Puget Sound, yeah. And I have found out since then, my son married a guy, his daughter from up in Virginia, and her daddy was on that ship. And I found out I was in Texas, Keller, Texas. And a lady come up to me one day and said, "Were you on ship so-and-so?" I said, "Yes." She said, "We had an uncle or a dad or something other on it." I heard it, but it wasn't. There was about 400 or 500 people.
Right. Yeah.
And so I didn't meet them all.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So it took us 3 weeks to sail across there.
Boy, it must have been nice when you came into port and to be back in the United States again, I bet.
It was nice when you got to the America.
Yeah, yeah.
You almost felt like you were home
Oh.
on there. And I got that little ham radio right yonder, that little thing in the corner. I talk all over the world.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm a ham radio operator.
Uh-huh.
And I talk all over the world, anywhere. I was sitting up here one day and trying to, I gave them my call letters and say, "Does anybody have a copy on me? Come on back if you do." And I set up, and I hadn't heard from Japan lately. I said, "Is anyone in Japan, the country of Japan, have a copy on me?" Guy came back as soon as I hung up. He came back from Tokyo, Japan.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good. And I had one at home. It's been in 27 years. I like it.
Yeah. So now, did you muster out of the Army in Tacoma, or did you come? Where did you get out of the Army then? After Tacoma, did you come home and get out of the Army, or where were you mustered out of the Army at?
Camp Shelby, Mississippi.
Okay.
Yeah, we landed in Tacoma, Washington, and I went across. We went pretty well across the north part of America, several states, and on down to Camp Shelby, Mississippi. And it started snowing right after we left Tacoma, Washington. And it snowed till we got right out of Memphis, Tennessee.
Well, you probably hadn't seen. When's the last time you'd seen snow? You probably certainly hadn't seen it the last 2 or 3 years overseas, and probably doesn't snow that much down in Mississippi.
We didn't see it.
Yeah.
We didn't have the cold weather. It was cool, but
Yeah.
we didn't have real cold. I'm glad we didn't.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Yeah. Yeah. So you got out of the Army there in Shelby, Camp Shelby.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then went home and
I went home.
talk about that reunion, coming home.
I had a year. I had taken home a Japanese rifle and a little ammunition and a Japanese saber, and I had taken that home, and so it was. But somebody came through. It was getting hard. That Japanese saber, I would keep it oiled up, and it was about that long. And I kept it all up, but it was rusting some. And they came to the one of the motels out there and buying those things.
Oh, right.
And I sold it for, I don't remember if it's $350 or $400. I sold it, but I've still got Japanese rifle, and well, my son's got it. I don't have a gun anywhere.
Right.
And so I'm without a home. Except this, and I sold my home. We had a good home, wife.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about now. Let's talk about your post-war years. Talk about getting out of service and what you went on to do, and talk about your wife and family a little bit.
Okay. After I got out of the service, I farmed again for about 4 more years. Then I went from there to Nashville, Tennessee. And it was 500 miles from Macomb, Mississippi to Nashville. And I went up there and I worked up there for a while, driving the truck. And I just fooled around working. And I was going to the same Nazarene church I was going to, and my wife we were going to the same church. So we started dating. 5 months from when we started dating, we were married.
Wow.
Yeah, and she was a nice, godly lady. And when we come back to Macomb, Mississippi, and she was church pianist, she was missionary president, she sang solo, she sang with the Lady Sextet, and church treasurer for a long time. So we were married 63 years, and we had 3 children. I had a son, Danny Boone, and he was a Nazarene preacher. We were a Nazarene family. He was a Nazarene preacher, and today he pastored in North Carolina 8 months, and in Nashville, Tennessee 6 months, Bourbonnais, Illinois 6 years, and Bourbonnais, Illinois 14 years he pastored. And he went to college there in Nashville, Tennessee, went through college, then seminary, then that's when he started pastoring. And so my oldest daughter went to Trevecca Nazarene College there in Nashville, Tennessee. They went from Macomb, Mississippi. And so the youngest daughter went to a college around just north of Macomb, north of our home there. And I had 2 daughters and 1 son. Mm-hmm. So I'm out here with the youngest daughter. They live in Greeley, her and her husband, and then they got a daughter. And my oldest daughter is in Keller, Texas. I was over there 10 months and 2 weeks. So I've been out here, a little less than 2 years.
Okay.
From here to there. But I sold my home, my car, everything. Yeah. I gave my guns away to my son, children, and all of them there, and I don't have any of them.
Yeah. Well, through the years, so many people that saw what you saw would have experiences, nightmares and such. Did you ever experience any of that, or were you able to put the war behind you?
No, it was for a while after I got out.
Yeah.
I would dream a lot about them Japanese trying to come in or trying to do this or that. It took me a while. Finally, it went away.
Oh, good.
And it doesn't bother me anymore.
Good.
So it's just something.
Yeah.
but it's not. It bothers you for a long time, and then after that, it kind of goes away for you.
Yeah. Through the years, over the years, did you ever keep in touch with any of the guys you served with? Was there any sort of reunions or anything?
Yeah, a little bit. Some of them over there, they gambled. And they borrowed a little money from me. And two of them owed me money, and I never did get it. So it wasn't maybe more than a couple of $100.
Yeah.
So I'd write them and tell them they could send it, but they decided not to.
Huh.
So I just left them. I just cut it off.
Yeah. Well, Algie, as we get towards the end of this interview, I know we only probably got the tip of the iceberg of your story, but is there anything I didn't ask you that you wanted to talk about, or any of the stories that have kind of floated to the top that you wanted to talk about? So ideally we round out your story, or do you think we did a pretty good job of capturing a good chunk of it?
We done fairly well, and it was bad. We were there one day, and they called for a medic. I mean, it was in action, and they called for a medic, and they said, "Send Boone." That was me. And I was getting ready to come. No, hold it. Don't send Boone, send Smitty. Smitty wasn't out there 5 minutes, he got killed. And that wasn't luck, that was protection from God.
Yeah.
Because my mother and father was at home praying. And it was just, I don't know. I've had to pick them up. I've slept by dead people laying there, and couldn't get them back to the rear echelon, and you'd have to sleep. What sleep you did get, you'd sleep with one eye open and one shut. No, but you try to be where you could hear everything going on. Hear if there's any sound of it, but I don't know. We were in somewhere in the Philippines, and put me on with a patrol, and they put us on a PT boat. You know,
Mm-hmm.
You know what they are.
Uh-huh.
They put us on that and sent us to a little island there, right from the main big island. They just sent us that, and we found 2 natives on that island. That was all. So we had a ringside seat there for back. We could look back and see the main island. So I've seen those Japanese come in there in planes. I saw one come in there one day, and I watched him. He made 3 rounds, and he was trying to get in touch with the right ship, and just as he put that nose of that plane down, Hack caught him right in the nose, and it just splattered him. I've seen him shot down like that at night, and I've seen him with these. We had 6 those powerful searchlights at night, and I've seen them get him Japanese up there in them and shoot them down. I've seen lots of them shot down. One they shot down, he fell. How he done it, I don't know. He hit the water and bounced back up about 20 feet and then come back down.
Huh.
And we've seen them just, I don't know, it was just something. But we had that ringside seat over there and we could see what was going on. We saw a lot of Japanese. I could tell you the sound if I heard it. I could tell the sound of a Japanese plane to an American plane. We'd call him the washing machine Charlie. And I say, here comes washing machine Charlie. And so it was good. I mean, we were in that, and I liked where we were.
There, yeah.
It was so we didn't have to worry about it. And I was in, one day we were called, they were in battle, they called for a medic. And we had 4 men, we went up. I got started going up there. Infantry was in a foxhole. And we had this little light communication wire, so to know where to go. So I found this soldier, and I said, hey, can you tell us where that man is shot up there? Where he done just like that. He's up there somewhere. I couldn't take it. I got on up there a little further. I saw a lieutenant. I said, Lieutenant, can you tell me where that man shot up there? He done the same thing. And it didn't point. He said, he's up there somewhere. I said, Lieutenant, either you get up out of that foxhole and show me, or I'm going back. He got up in there and took us up there and showed us. Rank didn't mean a thing in the service. Some of our men killed some of those officers. I don't know of the name of any, I don't know of any of them, but I've heard that. And so he got up and went up there and showed us. I was glad of it. Because you can't fool around 4 men up there trying to finagle out a way to get one man out, wounded man out, and he got 4 good men. So, I don't know.
Well, it must have been hard as a medic. I mean, the regular infantry, they're concentrating on trying to find the enemy.
Yeah.
You've got to concentrate on the wounded person. You can't pay attention to.
I know it.
Yeah.
I know it. You gotta find where they are, and all on there. So I don't know.
Well, you said you were on that island. You had kind of a ringside seat to watch. You were safe.
Yeah.
You were safe there watching it. Well, what's it like? What's it like to be right in the thick of battle? The artillery barrages and the bullets flying. I can't imagine what it's like in the thick of battle.
It's like just hoping they will miss you. Just hoping bullets will miss you, or the shrapnel will miss you. And we've had it. I've had them shoot at me. We come in on a little battle one day. It was a hot battle. We come off this hill kind of down a little bit, and we run into machine guns and everything. And buddy, I was laying on the ground, and they were shooting at me. They couldn't get their machine gun any lower, and they were hitting 3 feet ahead of my head. and you could hear the bullets zing, going over your head, and then you could feel the dirt falling on you. And many a time I didn't think I was coming back, but God had a purpose in it. He knew better, and so it was good, and I was glad when I got out, though. Oh man, I got home December the 19th.
Of 45.
45. My older brother got in just between there and Christmas. I don't remember the date. The same thing. Then my other two brothers over on the other theater, they got in a little while after Christmas. And so it left my two younger brothers. They went overseas, but they didn't have to go they didn't see any war.
Oh, right. They were just occupation troops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just occupation there.
Oh, it must have been a wonderful reunion when you were all finally home. And
it was.
Oh boy.
It was. We were proud of it, and but it's. I don't. Well, it rocked on. I said if my son ever had to go to the Army for that, I would go in his place if I could, because I knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And now I don't know what we've got in in America.
Right.
I don't know what we've got. If we had something in Washington, it would be a wonder.
Yeah.
It would be good.
Well, the last question I always like to ask with these interviews is, as you look back on your time in the Army and the experiences you went through, how did that change your life? Did it affect your life, play a role in your life, or was it just a chapter in your life? How do you think you would answer that?
Yeah, it changed your life, and you spent your time worrying about whether you're gonna make it or not, and we had in New Guinea, we had coonagreys 6 feet high, and every now and then you'd look to your right or to your left, and there's a clear something cut that coon grass on there and something on here. What it was, the Japanese had cut that grass to be in a crossfire with machine guns, and we knew what to do to look and find it. But after I got home that one day, I hadn't noticed it, but it got where I wouldn't go to the door and just push it open. I'd go to it and barely open it to look around. My aunt asked me, says, "What are you doing? Why don't you go on out?" I was used to that looking around that grass for a Japanese or something like that. And I explained it to her. "Oh, I'm sorry." She didn't know.
Yeah, right. Wow. Well, Algie, I want to thank you for sitting down today to tell your story, but more importantly, I want to thank you for your service to our country.
Thank you. You're welcome. I appreciate it. And Okay, this is my oldest brother starting right here. We're lined up, and it goes, that's me right there. And then comes back here, then it goes on down to the youngest. This is from the oldest, that one to the youngest. And that's all my brothers. They're all they're all dead today except me.
Yeah, and you said that was taken in 1978?
That was taken in 1978 in Meridian, Mississippi. And my brother-in-law had died, and we were over there at his funeral. Okay, this is my wife and I here right there. And we were married in November the 24th, 1950. And we were married for just a few days, being 63 years. And godly lady, precious lady, and so. And so we had a wonderful marriage.
Wow.
And she was good. She played the piano in the church. She sang with the latest sextet, and she church treasurer, missionary president, taught Sunday school and everything. She was a good lady, godly lady.